So recently I've been feeling rather frustrated because there's been plenty of amazing games I've played over the years that I've struggled to turn into full reviews due to time commitments. So instead, I've decided to start a new series where I give a minute or so long review of some of the stuff I've been playing over the last few months. I was initially going to call this series So I've Been Playing, until I remembered Thor High Heels had already taken that title. So instead I came up with a much better name. Some games what I've been playing, innit? The games I cover in this series will either be titles I simply didn't have a whole lot to say about, or games that I did enjoy, but not enough to make full reviews for. If nothing else, I hope you find something interesting to play from this series. To be honest, I had no idea what compelled me to play Katamari Damacy after all these years. It's the kind of game I was positive I wouldn't enjoy at all. It is just this super weird, quirky Japanese video game that I was certain critics just pretended to enjoy, so that they could show off how varied their taste in games really was. You know, just like all those people who claim that Red Dead 2 and Tetris are good games. However, after completing Katamari Damacy, I'm shocked by how wrong I was. Katamari is a wonderful game, with addictive gameplay and one of my favourite soundtracks of all time. For real, I've been listening to this thing non-stop for the last month. The idea behind Katamari is simple. You're a little dude who has to roll a ball into different objects in order to make the ball bigger. Even though you might start a level by rolling your ball into simple objects like traffic cones or signposts, within 10 minutes you'll probably be big enough to roll up entire buildings and trees. And this is all done in real time. Even modern classics like Knack are unable to show characters growing larger in real time. They usually need to rely on cutscenes. In Katamari, however, you actually get to see your balls grow in real time. That's a weird sentence. It must have been a massive technical accomplishment to pull all this off on PS2. I'd urge everyone to give Katamari a go, even if it doesn't look like your kind of thing. It might surprise you. If nothing else, the game cheered me up massively during a pretty miserable time in my life, and you can't put a price on that shit. I was a long time getting to the Dead Space remake, but there are a few reasons for that. One is fuck EA, obviously, but the other is that I never felt like Dead Space needed a remake. The game was practically perfect in my opinion, and my opinion still hasn't changed after completing the remake. Yes, the Dead Space remake looks amazing, it runs very well, and the extra side content and tweaked boss encounters are welcome additions, but it's still Dead Space at the end of the day, and if you weren't a fan of the original, this will do little to change your opinion. Thankfully, I am a fan, and despite how similar the remake is to the original, I still had a blast going through the entire thing again. The remake even has a neat dynamic difficulty system, where enemies can appear in areas they're not supposed to, depending on how well you're doing, which adds massively to the tension you'll feel exploring these hallways. Yeah, fuck! Dead Space was always great, and the remake might be the best way to play this timeless classic, so I can't recommend it enough. I did not expect to enjoy Ready or Not at all. I've been over my military shooter phase for at least a decade at this point. However, Ready or Not is very different from your typical Call of Duty. For one thing, it's a tactical shooter where even a single mistake can cost you your life. Also, the game isn't simply about gunning down everything in sight. In fact, the whole idea is to save as many lives as possible, which is a refreshing change from most shooters being released today.
Get down the back.
Suspect down. Entry team, this is John. Continue with your mission.
The game also puts you in some very uncomfortable scenarios that most developers wouldn't even dream of attempting. For example, one mission tasks you with saving some students from a university, essentially a school shooting situation. The player is tasked with not only saving the students and taking down the shooters, but also defusing 2 hidden bombs, all within about 10 minutes. So even though most missions require you to take things slow in order to keep casualties to a minimum, certain missions work on a timer, which ramps the tension up massively, and requires you to not only remain calm, but do so while the clock is ticking. While I've played a fair bit of the single player, I've gotten the most enjoyment from playing online with my brother. We've played through about half the campaign on hard difficulty at this point, with most missions taking us at least 2 hours to complete, but it's been worth it. Not only because of the satisfaction of overcoming seemingly impossible odds, but also because I've realised through playing in co-op that Ready or Not might be the funniest game I've ever played.
You could do better than that.
Shut up.
Over there.
You have to help me!
Look at this guy. Look at his fucking face.
Leave to talk. One down.
Entry team, this is...
The absolute highlight so far has been a mission set in a mansion that took us about 3 hours to complete. But by the end, we were working so well together as a team that it genuinely made me feel like a badass for a very brief moment.
He's dead. Stay behind him. He's dead as well. Did you get him?
Overall, despite its hefty price tag, I can't recommend Ready or Not enough. Trust me when I say you're getting more than enough content for the price, with additional maps available as DLC if you're still not satiated by the end of the campaign. The fact that a small indie team based in Ireland with a AA budget were able to craft one of the finest shooters in recent memory is still insane to me, and talent like this deserves to be supported. So I had previously planned to create a full review for Phobia, since I enjoyed it so much. However, upon completing a sizable chunk of the script, I realised I had practically nothing interesting to say about the game. That doesn't mean the game is bad, on the contrary, it's frequently fantastic. The game can genuinely be scary at times, and has plenty of fun jump scare moments. Some of the puzzles are actually really clever, and are a big step above the kind of thing you'd find in most survival horror games. On top of that, there's plenty of super challenging optional puzzles included too, if the mandatory ones aren't providing enough of a challenge for you. Level design is also fantastic, and brought back memories of exploring the Spencer Mansion from the original Resident Evil. But the more I thought about it, the more I realised Phobia didn't have a single unique idea of its own. The first-person survival horror gameplay is very reminiscent of Resident Evil 7. The spooky little girl is taken straight from Fear. The pursuer enemy feels almost identical to the nemesis from Resident Evil 3. Even the game's one cool idea, a night vision camera that can change the environment around you, is very rarely used. And what's worse, the game will even tell you exactly where you need to use the camera, in the form of a bloody handprint, which destroys any puzzle-solving potential the mechanic could have had. Despite its shortcomings, however, Phobia is some of the most fun I've had playing a survival horror game in recent memory. And more importantly, the game features the funniest USB joke of all time. Oh shit, these guys look like they mean business. How am I going to get out of this one? Oh, okay. Captain Blood is an old school 3D beat 'em up that was originally supposed to be released on the Xbox 360. However, the game eventually fell into development hell, and Captain Blood was cancelled soon afterwards. So the fact that this game exists at all is a miracle in and of itself. So how is the game?
Are advancing on the town hall, and the town folk have taken refuge there. We gotta save them. To the pier.
Shit. However, if all you're looking for is a simplistic, ridiculously violent hack and slash beat 'em up, I guess you could do worse. It's okay, but I don't really have a huge amount to say about it, as it's a very uninteresting game. Listen, Streets of Rage 4 will always be my favourite beat 'em up of all time. I adore that game. My brother even got me this signed picture from the developers for Christmas, which is a really cool present. I also just want to quickly show off my 3D Sonic frame, which is pretty cool. But the real reason I brought you all down here is to show you that I finally found this Silent Hill 3 poster I've been looking for like 20 years. I mean, look, how easy it is to recreate posters these days. It's probably a fake, but yeah, delighted to have it finally. So yeah, I didn't really want to show you the Streets of Rage poster. I just wanted an excuse to show off this. So yeah. I don't think it's possible to create a beat 'em up as perfect as Streets of Rage 4, but Mayhem Brawler comes pretty close. Yeah, the art style is definitely an acquired taste, and the music could never hope to match the auditory perfection of Streets 4's godlike OST, but the combat system is absolutely up there with the best of the genre. Parries, juggles, complex combo strings, Mayhem Brawler has it all, and I simply never got tired attempting to pull off some utterly insane combos. On top of that, each of the characters is significantly different from one another, with wildly different moves and combos to try out. The game also has a crap ton of replayability, with branching paths that unlock all new levels, and a whole 3 shitty endings to see. Look, Mayhem Brawler is not going to blow any minds, but if you are tired of replaying Streets of Rage 4 for the 900th time, this game will be a breath of fresh air, and serves as a lovely little alternative to the bigger beat 'em ups out there. Hello, as usual, thank you for watching my video. I just wanted to give a quick unscripted update about what's currently going on with the channel, with myself. So I've currently got 3 videos in production. I haven't really been able to turn them into finished products yet because I've been, I don't know, my mental health hasn't been too fantastic over the last month or so. So one of the videos is the top 20 disturbing movies of all time. The script is about 5,000 words for that, and it's going to take a little longer to get that out, but I will definitely have it out by Halloween. The second video is a video on Rain World. It's a review of Rain World, which is an incredible game, but it's not for me, I don't think. Which made me think a lot about difficulty in video games and how sometimes I think it's important to stay true to your creative vision. I'm not trying to be ableist or anything when I say this, but maybe sometimes it's okay for games not to have an easy mode, or not because people who are bad at games don't deserve to play these games. Of course they do, but I feel like with Rain World, if Rain World had a super easy difficulty option, you'd miss out on everything that game is about. It's very hard to explain without going in depth about the title, but it's similar to something like Sekiro, where if Sekiro had an easy mode and you were able to mass R1 through the entire game, you might still get a little bit of fun out of it, but without having to engage with the parrying mechanic, you'd be missing out on a lot. So my point with this video isn't that games shouldn't have an easy mode or anything like that, but I think games should try and make you engage with the mechanics. It's more the point I'm trying to get across. And the other video I'm working on is a review for A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead, which is a absolutely bafflingly designed survival horror game. It's a very uninteresting game, like unbelievably uninteresting and not very good, but its design, after finishing it, I was so baffled by how it was designed that I just kind of felt like I had to talk about, because the funny thing about the game is there is a good game in there behind all the bullshit, but it's like the developers went out of their way to try and make a bad game. So yeah, I'm very looking forward to getting that review out, because I have a lot to say about that title. So aside from all that, I hope you are all doing well, and I hope to see you guys soon. So thanks for watching, and peace out.